To shut down superstar receivers, the flashiest, most explosive athletes on the field,
You gotta love it. Hostile territory, the Rams on the road.
you need more than speed. You need a corner who's fearless, fast, and flat-out disruptive. And in the 90s, that's exactly what we got. A generation of defensive backs who redefined the position, locked up legends, and changed the game forever. So today, we're breaking down the top 5 quarterbacks of the decade. Let's get into it. Before getting into the top 5, it's only right to give out some honorable mentions. First up is Eric Davis, a second-round pick by the 49ers in 1990. Davis broke out in 1994 with 4 playoff interceptions, helping San Francisco win Super Bowl 29. By the next season, he was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler. When he moved to Carolina, he kept producing with 5 straight seasons of 5 interceptions, earning 2 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pro nods in the 90s. Underrated, but undeniably elite. Next is Terry McDaniel. At 5'10", 190 pounds, he didn't fit the prototype for a corner, but he played much bigger than his size. Drafted 9th overall by the Raiders in 1988, McDaniel put together 491 tackles, 35 interceptions, 5 Pro Bowls, and 4 All-Pro selections throughout the decade. His peak came in 1994 with 61 tackles, 7 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. His play declined near the end of the 90s, but his prime was too strong to leave off the list of honorable mentions. With that being said, let's get into the top 5. At number 5, we've got Darrell Green. His career lasted an incredible 20 seasons across 3 decades, but the 90s were where he cemented his place as one of the best. Known for blazing speed and airtight coverage, Green was nearly impossible to beat deep. He reportedly ran a 4.0940, and he used that track speed to stick with the fastest receivers in the league. During the decade, Green picked off 27 passes, made 4 Pro Bowls, and helped Washington capture Super Bowl 26. He also set the record for most consecutive seasons with at least 1 interception, 19 straight, including every year of the 90s. By the end of the decade, he was a lock on the NFL's 1990s All-Decade team. Darrell Green wasn't just fast, he was consistent greatness year after year. At number 4, we got Eric Allen. 14 seasons in the league, and the 90s were where he made his mark. Not the biggest corner at 5'10", 184 pounds, but quick, smart, and always a step ahead. Quarterbacks threw his way, and more often than not, he made them pay. 34 interceptions in the decade. That's elite production, year after year. In Philly, he was the heartbeat of that nasty gangrene defense. Later with the Saints and Raiders, he just kept stacking numbers. Reliable, durable, and always dangerous. And then came in 1993, his masterpiece. 6 interceptions, 4 pick sixes, over 200 return yards. That season, he didn't just defend passes, he flipped games on his own. He led the league in return yards, defensive touchdowns, and walked away as Defensive Player of the Year. For a cornerback, that's almost unheard of. Even in the late 90s, he was still producing, with 5 interceptions in 1998 with the Raiders. By the end of his career, 6 Pro Bowls, 5 in the 90s. Eric Allen wasn't just consistent, he had peak seasons that could swing games and even tilt an entire defense, and was among the best who have ever played the position. With that said, at number 3, we've got Anees Williams, and it's no exaggeration to say he was one of the most underrated shutdown corners of the 90s. He spent most of his prime on struggling Cardinals teams, but that didn't stop him from locking up receivers and making quarterbacks regret throwing his way. From 1991 through 1999, Williams racked up 41 interceptions, right at the top among all defensive backs of that era. In 1994, he led the league with 9 picks, then came back with 6 in both 1995 and 1996, scoring touchdowns in each season. And when he got the ball, he wasn't just going down, he was a threat to take it all the way back. That 65-yard interception return in '96 is still one of the highlights of his career. What also stands out is how active he was as a tackler. In 1996, he posted 77 total tackles, including 65 solo, numbers you usually see from a linebacker, not a cornerback. That shows he wasn't just a coverage guy, he was a complete defender who could step up in run support. By the end of the 90s, Anees Williams had already built a Hall of Fame resume, multiple Pro Bowl selections, league-leading interception seasons, and a reputation as one of the most technically sound and reliable corners of his generation. And his exceptional contributions earned him a spot on the NFL 1990s All-Decade team. Coming in at number 2 is the walking football magnet, Rod Woodson. Big, fast, physical. The guy was basically built in a lab for the cornerback position. He came into the league in '87, and by the time the 90s rolled around, he had turned into a complete nightmare for offenses. A shutdown corner, a dangerous return man, and every once in a while, even a weapon on offense. He was the face of those nasty Pittsburgh Steelers defenses, and the numbers he put up in the 90s show exactly why. From 1990 to 1999, nobody picked off more passes than Woodson. 46 interceptions in 1 decade. And the crazy part is, he didn't just take the ball away, he turned defense into instant offense. 8 pick sixes in the 90s alone. That's not just shutting down receivers, that's changing games on their head the moment the ball touches his hands. His peak came in 1993. 8 interceptions, a touchdown, 28 pass deflections, and a couple of forced fumbles just for good measure. That year, he wasn't just a cornerback, he was a full-blown weapon, and the league rewarded him with Defensive Player of the Year. But Woodson wasn't just about the flashy picks, he could hit. He had multiple seasons with 70-plus tackles in the 90s, proving he was just as willing to stick his nose in the run game as he was to shadow the top receiver. And while he was locking down defenses, he doubled as one of the best returners in football. Nearly 1,000 kickoff return yards in 1990, punt return touchdowns in the early 90s. He could hurt you in every possible way. 7 Pro Bowls in the decade, endless highlights, and a reputation that followed him from Pittsburgh to Baltimore. By the end of the 90s, Rod Woodson wasn't just one of the best cornerbacks of the era, he was a one-man highlight reel. That said, right at the top spot on our list is none other than Primetime himself, Deion Sanders. And as a cornerback, Primetime was the most electric defensive player of the 1990s, consistently shutting down his side of the field for the Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, and the Cowboys. Arguably the most electrifying defensive back of all time, Primetime was the definition of a shutdown corner. Sanders had unmatched speed, elite ball skills, and an uncanny ability to take away half the field. Sanders' coverage skills were so exemplary that he would often bait quarterbacks by giving receivers a significant cushion before making it all up in a flash for a pick. At a point in his career, with his lightning-fast speed, agility, and unmatched coverage skills, he made quarterbacks think twice before daring to throw in his direction. During the decade, he recorded 40 interceptions, returning them for 741 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's not normal cornerback production, that's wide receiver production, but on defense. And the thing is, these numbers only tell part of the story. Quarterbacks avoided him like the plague. The ball just didn't go to his side of the field. When it did, more often than not, Deion made them regret it. His 1994 season with the San Francisco 49ers might be the single greatest season by a quarterback ever. 6 interceptions, 303 return yards, and 3 pick sixes. 3 in 1 year. That's more defensive touchdowns than most DBs have in their entire careers. Oh, and he capped it off by winning Defensive Player of the Year and helping the Niners win the Super Bowl. Then he jumped to Dallas and picked up right where he left off, winning another Super Bowl in '95. And again, it wasn't just defense, he was winning games on special teams too. From 1990 to 1999, Deion racked up over 3,200 punt and kickoff return yards with 7 return touchdowns. He could erase your top receiver, score on defense, and then turn around and take a punt to the house. No other corner in the 90s even came close to that kind of impact. And this is what made Prime so different. He wasn't just a shutdown corner, he was a one-man highlight reel who could tilt the momentum of a game on a single play. And when you think of the 90s, you think Jordan, you think Griffey, you think Prime. That's how big he was. Deion Sanders wasn't just the best quarterback of the 90s, he was prime time, and the rest of the league had no choice but to play on his stage. There you have it. The 90s gave us a generation of defensive backs who completely redefined the position. Deion Sanders shutting down half the field, Rod Woodson turning defense into points, Darrell Green blazing past receivers, Eric Allen and Anees Williams proving consistency and dominance year after year. These guys didn't just play cornerback, they elevated the position. But let me know what you think down below. Who do you think should have made the list? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around. We've got more videos coming your way.